Hello everyone, welcome to Brenda's Brushstrokes and Bisque. Monthly free class on Sunday, December 21st at 6 p.m. Central Time. So my class will not always be ceramics, so it could be other things that we do at the shop. And since the fused glass snowflakes or suncatchers require the use of a kiln, I feel that they fit in the ceramic education class, so that we can use our kilns for more things than just ceramics or stoneware. Just another opportunity for businesses to make things and for customers to be able to make things. So I have a couple samples on the screen, and the instructions for this will be in the January newsletter, which will go out January 1st. So if you're not subscribed to that, please go to brendasbrushstrokesandbisque.com and scroll to the bottom of the page. It will say stay in the loop, and you will get a newsletter January 1st. They go out the first of the month, and sometimes they have instructions in them. They definitely have tips and things and what's going on in the pouring room. And so this, for January, I will have the instructions and the pattern for the glass, in case you're able to make these yourself, so that you guys can print that out and have it. But you would have to sign up for the newsletter if you haven't in the last 2 months. If you signed up before that, like 5-6 months ago or a year ago, please go sign up again, because we have to start our newsletter over. So these are fused glass snowflakes, suncatchers. This one's obviously not a snowflake. This one's a kitty, so you can do different things with them. So there are different types of glass. This is not stained glass that people make stained glass with and is not fired, and you may see in windows and things that it is glass like that, but this glass has been tested to a co-efficiency, which is a COE, and I use the 96. So there's two types of COE glass for fusing in your kiln. One is COE 90 and one is COE 96. I just chose 96, that's what I have, although I'm going to be adding some 90 to do the ornaments, the Christmas blown glass ornaments from the class I took. And so the COE stands for that testing was done for the glass, and that one sheet of glass is compatible with the other sheet of glass, and that they will fuse together and not crack and break for the most part. And so whichever glass you choose, the 90 or the 96, you can't mix them together, because if you put a 90 with a 96 there, they could crack and break, because one expands and shrinks differently than the other one. So that's why you have to stay with the same number of glass. And there's all kinds of products that go with the glass, the COE 90 and the COE 96. And we're probably just going to stick to the COE 96 because that is what I use. But the 96 will have the same stuff. You can use this glass for stained glass because you're not firing it. So it is, although it is a little bit more expensive than stained glass, you can use it in stained glass because you're not firing it again. So one of the products that we use to decorate our pieces with is called frit, and this is frit in this jar, which is nothing more than our glass broken into little pieces and then put through a strainer. And so we have 3 different sizes. We have actually 4. We have powder, fine, medium, and coarse. And so this would be a medium one. And then I just use little straws to scoop them around, or we use tweezers to pick up a particular piece if we want a particular piece. And I do make our frit at the class. You can buy it in bottles, in jars about this size. They're probably about $17, $18 a jar. And so I do make ours to cut costs. So this is white, opaque, coarse. And so the one thing is that you want to look at your labels. Now, I just have mine labeled here, but some glass will look like another glass, and so you do want to read your labels And so I guess I should say, can you guys hear me? Let's make sure you can hear me first of all. If one person could just give me a yes, I can hear you thing, that would be great. So the white and the clear look very much the same. So when you're looking at the jar here, let's see, can you guys hear me? Let's just start with that. We should always start with that first. Otherwise we'll have to start over. Let's just make sure you guys can hear me. Okay, so we're good to go. All right, super. So when you look at the clear frit and the opaque frit, they're going to look the same, pretty much the same. Unless you're really good at it, then you may be able to tell the difference. So it's really important to read. Thanks, guys. It's really important to read what was on the label. So if you, white and transparent or clear. So white and clear, let's put it that way. White and clear, they look very much alike. Then the next thing is opaque. So this is opaque, meaning that it's solid and I can't really see through the white pieces. And the other thing is transparent, meaning this could be white, but I could still see through it. But the white and the clear do look very much alike. So make sure you're getting the color that you want when you're doing this. And you can buy kits of those and different things. All right, so then another thing that we use is the cabochons. So those are, our cabochons are pieces of glass that are made into full fused into dots to use on our pieces to decorate them. And they can be in all different sizes, and you can buy them also, but I do make, some people call them glass dots, some people call them cabochons. I believe cabochons is the correct word for them. I gotta put my phone here so I can see it. So these are, so if I would have taken one of these little white frits, one of the bigger ones, and put it on my kiln shelf, I would probably get a little dot, a cabochon about the size of that. So glass naturally wants to pull itself to a 1/4 inch thick. So it doesn't matter what shape this little character is, it's going to naturally pull itself to this dot. If you want bigger dots, you do bigger pieces of glass. And so I line them up on my kiln shelf, and you guys have seen lots of pictures of those where the glass is lined up on the kiln shelf. The biggest thing is that they can't be touching each other, and you can have all the different sizes in the kiln at one time. And so when we cook the glass or fire the glass in the kiln, we fire it at different degrees. And so the different degrees will give us a tack fuse, which is what we use for our snowflakes, because it tacks the glass pieces to our glass without melting it into the glass and making it one piece. So this is a tack fuse. Then the next, which I should have wrote the temperatures down. I don't remember right offhand. And then the next temperature of fuse, which is a little bit hotter and maybe like 20 degrees hotter is all it is. That's called a contour fuse. And so the glass on top will fuse into the glass underneath it just a little bit. So it's more of a contour, like a wave, instead of just really sticking up, and like these are really sticking up. So that's where the tack fuse. And the next is a full fuse. And okay, so here's a contour fuse, you guys, or here's a contour fuse. So you can see these are melted into our glass a little bit more, actually quite a bit more than this one. Okay, so this is our tack fuse where our pieces of glass are just on top. This is our contour fuse where they're fused into the glass underneath them just a little bit more. Okay, so that's a little bit hotter than this one. And I think it's like 20 degrees. And then from the contour fuse, we go to a full fuse, which I don't have a piece that's full fuse, but a full fuse will blend the two pieces of glass right together like that. And it will give us these dots as well. And if you guys have questions while I'm explaining this, just ask away. So this is a full fuse, and it gives us our dots, our cabochons. This is a contour fuse where it's fused to our glass, almost starting to get into the glass. And then this is a tack fuse, which the glass is on top and has all kinds of texture to it yet. So generally, for the glass sun catchers, we do a tack fuse. So that, and you put it in a kiln, on a kiln shelf that has kiln wash on it. I like the Primo, Primo brand. You can also buy thin fire paper to put on your kiln shelves, or you can buy papyrus paper to put on your kiln shelves, and you don't have to mess with the kiln wash. You can also buy a spray called Zip, ZYP, and spray it. I kind of go with the cheaper option and use the kiln wash, which has to be sanded off occasionally and then reapplied. So that's, I'm just trying to cut cost. All right, so that is how these guys are made. Oh, one more thing. So I do make all of our cabochons, and they're all in a bunch of containers. There's probably 6 containers with 20 compartments in them, and there's all different sizes and colors. I put each color in each size, kind of the big red ones, the little red ones, all in the little compartments, and there's tons of colors. Basically whatever glass we have is what I make. Same with the frit. We have 3 big, like the bun roll pans from the bakery, full of containers with the frit in small, medium, and large. Or fine, I should back that up, powder, which I save for freeze infuse, which I haven't gotten to try yet. And then the fine, which is almost like a powder, but there's a little bit of, it's more like sugar or salt. Fine is like sugar or salt. And then we have the medium, and then the coarse, which is bigger pieces. So I used to do these by hand with a pipe, 2 pipes, and smash it together, and then pour it into a strainer and strain the 3 different sizes out. And when you're working with glass like that, you do want to be wearing a face mask or respirator, because you don't want to get that fine glass into your lungs. But however, now I use a grain grinder that you can get off of Amazon in like 5 seconds. You just push the button and it just chops it up really quick and fast, and then I put it through the strainer, so that's a lot faster. But we do have like 3 big bun roll trays of different frit in sizes that everybody can use. Then another thing you guys have seen me doing is making the vitrograph. So vitrograph is made by, I use a clay pot and put chunks, like 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch chunks of glass into like a 6-ounce clay pot. Fill it up depending upon what color I need. And you can mix colors as well. I put that into my little vitrograph kiln, so you can actually get a vitrograph kiln. I'm trying to get the comments up on the desktop or the little tablet, because I'm not seeing any comments come up. Or some people will make their own vitrograph kiln, but you need a hole in the bottom of the kiln. So the kiln's only about maybe 15 by 15, probably 12 inches tall, and there's a hole in the bottom of it. You have it over your head. You put your glass in the clay pot, or there are metal pots too, but again, you have to buy those and they cost money. So I do use the clay pots. You can reuse them quite a few times. Put the glass in there. It takes about 2 hours to get to the temperature, and then it takes about another 2 hours for all of it to get liquefied. And once it's liquefied, it starts to come out the bottom of that pot. It gets a big bulb on the bottom, and then I take a big long pliers and start pulling it out. And depending upon how fast or slow you pull it will determine how big your pieces of vitrograph will be. So this is now called vitrograph. So there are stringers, and you can curly cube it and do all kinds of different things with those too, but I just kind of brought the straight ones because that's what we're going to use tonight. And the vitrograph, you can also buy this in the tubes like this in different colors. You can get an assortment. But again, you want to make sure you're getting 90 or 96, whatever you're using. Mine are all 96. And then we have those in the shoebox, the containers, the clear shoebox containers, and we probably have, let me see, there's 4, 9, there's like 36 to 40 colors on our cart. And then they come in all different sizes, so you can see this one is a lot bigger than this one. So you can make them as you're pulling them out the bottom. You can get different sizes depending upon what you're doing and depending upon what the hole shape is in your pot. You can also make murini, which is another step that I haven't gotten to yet, where you make Marina or cane it's called, and it would be more like a candy cane size or bigger, 1/2 inch, and it has designs in it. And I do have a book to try to make some patterns, and then you can cut those and make use that glass to create your little pictures and things and make flowers. So that is the basics of it. Although the main part is having the glass that we need. And so I do pre-cut all of the glass for the customers. And we need 4 pieces of glass for each, 4 pieces of the, they're not triangles, I forget what they're called, of the glass to make our sun catcher. Okay, let me see, we try to get all this in the screen here. Let me move a couple things for a minute. And I gotta be able to see the phone. All right, so get that in there. Then I have these little, these are, disposable breadboards or breadboards from Dollar Tree, and we just cut them in half, and that way I can transport them to the kiln. And so they can get 2 of these on each one. And so what we do is take our glass, so I cut them, and they're all in little, they're in compartments and containers as well, and they can pick whatever colors they want. There's probably 40 or more colors. And I will put the pattern in the newsletter with all these instructions as well. So I want to wipe my glass piece off. Now, sometimes glass will have a front and a back. It'll have a different texture on one side or the other side, so you may want to pay attention to that if you want a certain temperature or a certain pattern, although you may lose a little bit of the pattern. And so now we're going to do a north, south, east, west with our points. Bring this on here a little bit more. So I just do a north, south, east, west. Okay. And I'm just wiping them off before I use them. All right, so we have them lined up as north, south, east, and west. And then the other 2 products we use are White Rain hairspray, and you use them as minimally as possible. You don't want to get too much, and all that's going to do is keep our piece together so that it can be put into the kiln. Now I used to bring mine home, which is like 6 miles from the shop, but now that I have the glass kiln out there, I try to fire out there unless we have a really big class and I have a really big load. Although the smaller kiln, I can get like 15 to 18 in there. So you do need a White Rain hairspray, and I have used Suave as well. You just want the cheapest stuff you can get, but not all kinds of stuff in it. And then the other thing we're going to use is Elmer's glue, the school glue, and you want to use as least amount of glue as possible. You could put it into a little container and use a toothpick. I usually just use my glue bottle. And so now we're going to take our other pieces of glass, and wipe them off. And you always want to be careful because it is glass, like it can cut you. So we're going to wipe these off. And it doesn't matter, you can use whatever colors you want. I picked blue, of course, because I like blue. But if you have more contrasting colors, like, whoop, just knocked my own glasses off. Now they're on the floor. Oh, for Pete's sake, hold on. So like these 2 colors are very close to each other, so they're not real distinct. Here we have the red and the green, which is very contrasting, so you can see you can make a lot of designs. And now here's the vitrograph that's curly, so that it may have been standing up, but there's all kinds of choices with the vitrograph, and so you can have all kinds of shapes and sizes. All right, so we have these guys lined up, and now I'm just going to pre-line these up in between each one of those with my thing in the middle, and then we will glue them. And you want the edge of this and the edge of this touching the edge of that, because that's what's going to, they're going to like tack together, and that's what's going to hold them together. But before that, we're going to use glue to do that. So it's pretty simple. This is probably the hardest part, is kind of lining them up really nice. Your center don't have to be exact because we use a dot, one of our cabochons in the middle. Okay, so I kind of got them how I kind of want them. So now I'm going to take my glue, take my piece off really gently, and run just the slightest amount of glue on there. Lay it on there so that they are overlapping each other, because we need them to overlap each other when they fire. So I just get the glue on all of them first, and then we can kind of, so it's not a lot, it's just a little line of glue. Okay, so just a little line of glue. And then the glue is going to burn out when it's in the kiln, like that's going to go away. And so you do want these to dry for 24 hours at least before you fire them, so that they're dry and you can burn that out. All right, so we have them on there now. And I just want to go back and make sure that each one is overlapping so that they stay together. Okay, so that's all there is to that part of it. Let's bring this over here. See if that helps so I can see. All right, so depending upon what you want on your thing, so the bigger piece in the center, I will put a little dot, circle of glue on that and drop that on there, and that kind of helps hold our center together also. And then if we want stringers on here, or our vitrograph, you may need a mosaic cutters. If you purchase the vitrograph, it's probably going to be small, thin enough you can break it with your hands. So this one I know I can break with my hand. So I would measure how long, kind of measure it like right there, and then I would just pinch it and then snap it, and you can, so when it's pretty small you can do that. So we'll put one over here. Again, I'm just kind of measuring it. But when we get to the bigger stuff that's homemade, you may have to use the mosaic wheeled cutters, and that's what this is called, a mosaic wheeled cutters. And we'll go to a bigger piece now. And so we'll measure here. And so you're going to put your glass in between those two wheels. I usually like to point down, and you just crunch down, and then that cuts that. And that's really about all the cutting you have to do. All right, so I'm going to lay that one on there. Lay this one on here, and then you can take a tweezers and kind of move it around so you're not disturbing your base. So these are kind of little and fine, and so this is the point where I take my hairspray, and you don't want to be really close with your hairspray. You want to be up here further, because if you're down here, you're going to scatter it all. So we're just going to give, I don't know, three or four and squishes with the hairspray. No, I missed it completely. And let that, while we're working on it, like that's going to dry and hold our little pieces in place. Okay, so now if we want, you can make it as fancy as you want, or not as, like there's just a ton of stuff you can do with these. You can look on Pinterest. There's a lot of stuff on Pinterest. All right, let's put some little, well, actually, let's, I don't know. We can use our little dots, probably use, so these little dots I also don't put glue on them either. I will just spray them a little bit. If I have a bigger dot like this, I'd probably put a dot of glue on the back. So I'm going to kind of look for the same size ones and just pick them out here with the tweezers possibly, or my fingers, and I'm going to lay that on there where I want it. You can lay there. So I have really big fingers, so it's kind of hard for me to lay them on there with my fingers, but the tweezers isn't cooperating either. All right, so now we have those on there. So now, like, you could even quit at that point already if you wanted to. So let's see, let's put a little bit bigger one on each one. A little bit bigger one. And a little bit bigger one. These are just like, these are endless, you guys. Like it's just endless. All right, so now I don't want them to move, so I'm going to take my spray again, and I'm going to come up here and kind of spray it. Okay, so those are good now. Let's see, let's put a couple more pieces on here. So we're just going to kind of measure it. That one's little enough I can just pinch it and break it. We'll just lay it on there. Make that one a little bit smaller and put it on there. And maybe I'll make it just a little bit smaller. Now you don't want to be rubbing your tabletop with your hands when you're doing this, because there could be little glass shards and you'll be hurting if you do. And so you just kind of move them around with the tweezers or a little brush or a toothpick. So we're just going to kind of work our way around this guy and add some little extra snowflake starbursts here. And so I'm just breaking the little pieces with my fingers. And then I save all them little pieces and put them into a bucket. And then you can always make them into frit. So we kind of recycle everything and kind of make a rainbow batch. A little bit shorter. And then we kind of move it where we want it. And we got one more over here. That one's kind of big. Let's go back to a smaller one. So it's nothing hard. What are the white dots in those long pieces called? So I'll talk about that again, but if you go back and watch the video from the front, from the beginning, we already talked about what those are. I don't want to confuse people. All right, so we have our stringers or vitrograph. That's what the long pieces are called. And then our dots are called cabochons. And I did talk about how we made those at the beginning. So, so now I'm going to spray my hairspray again 5 or 6 times. And now that's going to help set that up. And now we have our frit that's in the container here. This is the coarse frit. And I like to use these little straws to scoop that up. If you just wanted to put a few in a certain spot, you can just do a few and pick them out how you want them. I like to just take the little scoop and be pretty generous with them. So we're going to put our frit on, just sprinkle that on. I usually don't worry about anything that gets on the outside because we're only putting the glass into the kiln. We're not putting the plastic in. And so then I'll just scrape all that into a container also. So I'm just putting my frit on. And I just did blue and white because that was what the sample picture was on the page. Now we do have hairspray on there yet, so I'm not going to spray any more hairspray yet. And I'm going to put some more on this one here. You could leave them as every other one. You can do really, it's just a ton of ways, you guys. So we're going to just put some of that on there. And then all these will get fired to attack fuse. And they will look like the blue one in the picture, the one we've been talking about. So you can put as much of this on as you want. Although you try to keep it to three layers. So we have our bottom layer is 1, this top layer is 2, and then our frit is 3. Once you get like 5 or 6 layers, they could require a different firing schedule for the annealing and stuff. So like 3 to 4 levels is a good amount of layers, so you don't have cracking. All right, so that gets put on there, and now then I give them a last spray of 3 or 4, and then I let them sit on the table like that until the next day or 2, and then I fire them in the kiln, in the glass kiln or in my big ceramic kiln, And if it's in the big ceramic kiln in the garage, I put shelf posts so it's up near the top more where the hotter part of the kiln is. And then I will put the fusing schedule in the newsletter as well as the pattern for the little pieces. And so that will all be in the January's newsletter. So if you haven't signed up for the January's newsletter, January 1st, sign up for it so you get that. So these little pieces are called vitrograph or stringers. They are made by putting the glass in a clay pot and putting them in a vitrograph pieces of glass in a clay pot. And then it gets to a certain temperature. And then you pull it out the bottom and you can twist it like these are twisted. And every 12 inches, I just use my cutters and cut them and lay them in a pile and keep pulling. It takes about 2 hours to pull them, to pull a pot. And then we just have like 40 colors of everything at the shop. Try to have all kinds of colors. Once they're fired, you let them go like 24 hours in the kiln so they cool off naturally. I drill a hole with a diamond tip bit, an 1/8 inch diamond bit tip in water. So I take a container, put a piece of glass, like the wash tub from Dollar Tree. It's like the white bath wash dish pan. Put a piece of glass in there, like a 6x6 piece of glass on the bottom. Put about this much water in it. Put my piece on there. Use my Dremel with the diamond tip bit, 1/8 inch diamond tip bit. Slowly go through it. Don't force it, and they will drill really quick and fast. Then we wipe them off. They get a fishing line, and then I usually have, now this one was made in 2023, I get the year things off of Amazon, so they'll have that on there too as part of the class. Let's see what else. So these were the vitrograph that are made by putting them in the vitrograph kiln, this glass, and pulling it out the bottom. These are cabochons that are made by putting little pieces of glass on the kiln shelf and firing them to a full fuse. The glass naturally wants to go to 1/4 inch or 6 millimeters, and so it will pull into a nice little dots. And you can have big dots or little dots. The bigger your dots are, the harder they are to make. I have made bigger, like 1 inch, 1 1/4 inch ones for ladybugs, but you can do it. There's just a little more. You got to be a little more precise with your pieces of glass. Like you kind of want a 1 inch square, and you stack one way and one the other way, so they're kind of crisscross so that it melts down. And you can mix colors. You just don't want to mix the COEs. You want to use either 96 or 90, whatever you're using. I will put the pattern for this as well in the newsletter, and I will put the firing schedule in the newsletter. If you're wondering what it is and you have all the glass and want to do this, you don't want to wait, go to glasscampus.com and type in firing schedule, and they have glass firing schedules. You may have to adjust it to your kiln if your kiln is hot or cold, but they have like a tack fuse, a contour fuse. They have the COE 90 and the COE 96. There are different firing schedules, so make sure you got the right firing schedule because they do fire a little bit differently. And then I also get these jewelry bales, and we glue these on the back instead of drilling the hole also, and these are just off of Amazon as well. So I will probably be putting some kits together. Say like I'll take a picture of this one, and then I will put the frit and the stringers and the glass and the cabochons into a little kit. Like you'll get a little container of stringers and a little container of frit and a little container of glass globs. This will be after the new year. And then the glass, and then you'll on my website so people can purchase them going forward for next year. It'll be something new for next year. So I'll have different options of different colors. What are the little year markers called? Charms. I just type in charms on like 2026 charms, and then on Amazon, and they will come up. They're just like a little charm. Like I get those for our graduate students to put on their graduation pieces or whatever. But yeah, they're just, and they come in different colors, silver and gold and different colors, but you can just get them on Amazon. The only thing is you get them like by the 100. I think it's by the hundreds. But I plan on making some kits, probably not a whole lot of them, probably a blue one, a purple one, maybe some Easter colored ones, and then they would have that charm in there, frit in a little container, the stringers in a little container, and then the glass pieces in a little container, and the cabochons with the directions. But the directions will also be in the newsletter with the pattern for this, and then the firing schedule. So I don't know if, are you guys interested in having like the pre-cut glass kit for the snowflakes? And then I don't know if you have kilns, or you could take it to your local shop and have them fire it. It's way too hard to have you guys ship this back to me. It's way too fragile to have it shipped back after you assemble it and then me fire it and ship it back to you. Like, that's probably not possible. But I am thinking about doing some kits. We'll probably start out kind of small. And we did do Easter eggs last year, so I'll probably throw in some Easter eggs as well. But that will be after the new year and after the BISBox ships. We'll start out slow and see how it goes. It would have printed directions in it, and then all the little things that you need. So you guys can let me know what you think about that. It looks like a few of you would like that. So that is our class for Christmas, kind of something special. Normally I don't do a glass class. Can they be fired in a very small kiln? Yes, they can, as long as it goes to, I can't think of what the temperature is, around like 1356 or 1456. I don't think it can be fired in the ones that go into a microwave, though. A lot of the glass kilns are actually fairly small, so as long as you can set the temperature that you want it to go to, and that you can set it for a holding time to anneal it. So the glass has to be fired at a certain rate. And so it goes up so many degrees an hour until it gets to 900, and it's either 900 or 950, depending upon the COE. And then it will hold it at that temperature for however long you set it. Usually it's about an hour, 50 minutes. And then it'll go up to the highest temperature at a certain rate. And you want it, it's all going slow. And then it will, you kind of hold it at that high temperature for, I don't remember right offhand, you guys, because I don't have the scheduling thing with me. It would hold it at whatever time you have it set for, and then it starts cooling it off at the time you have it set for. I don't know what a set would cost right now, because I'll have to weigh out all the glass and the frit and see what that comes to make it. When we make them at the shop, they're about $18. So I'm guessing it's going to be in that range. But then there are little containers to, I'll have to add in the little containers to put everything in, and then printing out the instructions. So it's probably going to be in the $18 to $20 range if I had to guess offhand. But I can't write that in paper that's what it is. So we'll see as far as that goes, if there's enough interest and whatnot. And you can always shop my website, brendasbrushstrokesandbisque.com, and that's where you can sign up for the newsletter if you haven't. They go out on the 1st of the month. Try to put all useful information in there and some fun stuff too. So I think that's about it. This was kind of my little Christmas present to you guys to show you how to do the fused glass snowflakes. You can go on Pinterest and find all kinds of ideas. You can go on YouTube and watch other people making them as well. There's a lot of people making them. I will upload this to YouTube as well. It will probably be over this week, because now Christmas is coming in. I got a couple people to ship things for yet that wanted stuff now. So it'll be a few days, but it will be on my Facebook page for 30 days, and then they delete them. And then, but I'll get it onto YouTube before that. Can you come and do them at your shop? Yes, you can come and do them at my shop at any time. I have everything on 2 carts. And we just pull the carts out, and you sit down and you make them. You say, hey, I would like to make the suncatchers today. And you can make as many as you want and whatever color combinations you want, because we have all the cabochons and the vitrograph. Everything is there. Right now they are $18 a piece to make at the shop. So I am closed until January 6th is when I open back up again. I'm taking a little break here to kind of catch a little rest. It's been a long, hard year. And I got to kind of get some things organized at the shop too. But you can come to the shop and make them as well. And you don't have to wait for a special class. You can do them anytime. So I think that's about it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the glass snowflakes and making them. They're pretty simple. They're pretty addicting. And we will, I will try to get our free classes scheduled for next year, before the first of the year, along with the live sales from January through July. Connie says they're addicting. Yes, they are. They're a lot of fun. Once you start, like, oh, I can do this now. Oh, I want to do this now. It's really crazy. So yeah, come out to the shop and make some, or I will try to do some kits. If you have access to a kiln that you can program, you could have them made that way too. So you just need the few things that I showed you, the glue and the hairspray, probably a mosaic cutters. Not much. Like, it doesn't take a whole lot of things. And if we can I can make some kits. I think you guys might enjoy them, because a lot of people do have the little digital kilns to fire things with, so they're a lot of fun. And we will call it a night, I guess. And this is why I bought my kiln. Great. Okay, great. Yeah, don't be afraid to try it. Just try it. Check out glasscampus.com. They have lots of glass information, and especially the firing information. That's where I start from. I start with their schedule for tack fusing, and if say your kiln is really hot and your stuff is melted too much, then just back your temperatures off a little bit. Write it down. That's really important, to write it down what you did, so you know what you did. And then you can adjust it each time you make one. So like my kiln in the garage is a lot hotter than my kiln at the shop, and so they're fired to the same tack fuse, but they're fired a little differently temperature wise, because every kiln has its own little personality. So it's really important to write down what you did, so you can, if something doesn't come out, oh man, that fused just a little too much, then you know to not maybe go, like, take it back 5 degrees. You don't have to take it back much or add much. It makes a huge difference. Or you can hold it for 5 degrees and not even change the temperature if you want it to fuse more. So look at glasscampus.com. They have lots of fusing information, and then write down what you're doing so that you know what you did, and you can adjust it to get your kiln scheduled the way you need it. So now I have both of mine programmed. The first one is for the tack fuse, and the second one is for the fill fuse, because that's pretty much all I do. But they are different, even because they're 2 different kilns, and each kiln acts differently. Feel free to message me too if you need some help. Like, I'm happy to help anybody. And hopefully you guys make some sun catchers for next year. I mean, you can make these into flowers and put them on stakes out in the garden. There's all kinds of stuff you can do with the glass. So, all right, you guys, thanks for joining for our free class. I will get next year's classes scheduled hopefully by the first of the year. Hopefully you enjoyed the snowflakes, and I will try to get kits started and on the website next year too, sometime in January. So that's coming too. So, all right, you guys, thanks for joining me. Have a great Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we will see you in January. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.